Before you try to control energy, you must first believe it exists, not in theory, not as a metaphor, but as something you feel, subtly, constantly, underneath everything. Because whether you know it or not, you are already interacting with energy. Every breath, every thought, every room you walk into is shaped by it, and shaping it in return. We tend to think of energy as something external, something mystical or scientific or vague. But the truth is simpler. Energy is attention. It is emotion. It is the invisible thread between thought and outcome. And the first step in energy control is not about techniques, rituals, or breathing patterns. It's about awareness. Awareness that you are not a closed system. You are porous, reactive, influential. You affect the field around you, and the field responds. What most people call mood, vibe, or intuition is the language of energy already speaking to them. They've just never been taught how to listen. Energy is not imagination. It is information in motion, and the human body is its perfect receiver. Ancient texts often describe the body not just as flesh and bone, but as a vessel, a field of nodes and channels designed to sense, store, and transmit energy. Today, science begins to echo these teachings, from electromagnetic fields around the heart to the measurable aura surrounding the skin. But the key isn't in knowing this intellectually, it's in feeling it directly. So here's the first practical step: stillness. Not meditation in the traditional sense, not forcing the mind into silence, just the act of not doing, for even 30 seconds. Sit, stand, lie down. It doesn't matter. What matters is that you stop reacting. Because in the space between your impulses, energy begins to rise. You'll notice a tingling in your hands, a heat in your chest, a vibration between your eyes, maybe even an emotion with no trigger. This is the field introducing itself to you. Your job is not to manipulate it. Your job is to notice. Once you learn to feel the presence of energy, the next step is learning to direct it, but not with force. Energy follows attention. Where your gaze goes, energy flows. Where your emotion is anchored, energy amplifies. Try this. Place both hands a few inches apart, palms facing each other. Breathe slowly. Now imagine a gentle pulse of warmth building between them. You're not trying to create something. You're simply observing what was already there. After a few moments, you may feel a push, a resistance, almost like a magnetic field. This is your first experience of active energy, subtle yet real. The more you practice, the clearer it becomes. You'll begin to sense it not just in your hands, but in conversations, in places, in people. Energy becomes language, presence becomes power, and once you truly learn to control your energy, you begin to change the way reality responds to you, because reality listens. If this stirred something in you, something real, something familiar, like, subscribe, and leave a comment below. Your energy is already in motion. Let it speak. Breath is the bridge between the seen and the unseen. Every inhale draws in life force. Every exhale, a release. But most people breathe unconsciously, shallow, automatic, unaware, and so their energy stays fragmented, unfocused, scattered. Energy control begins with breath awareness. Here's the technique. Close your eyes. Inhale deeply through your nose for 4 seconds. Hold it for 4. Exhale slowly for 6. Pause. As you do this, don't just breathe. Feel where the breath moves. Does it sit in your chest, sink to your belly, tingle in your hands? Now bring your focus to the area just below your navel. This is your center. The energetic core. The place ancient traditions called the Hara, the Dantian, the seat of inner power. With each breath, imagine light collecting there, not visualized, felt, a weightless presence like gravity pulling inward. Let it build, let it anchor. Soon, you'll feel a subtle strength, a grounded silence, and the beginning of true stability in your field, not because you forced energy, but because you invited it home. Energy doesn't stay inside you, it moves, it spills into rooms, it clings to objects, it lingers in words. Every space holds a residue of intention, emotion, memory. You've felt it before. That heaviness in a room after an argument, that serenity in a temple, even when empty, that strange discomfort when entering a place you can't explain. These are not moods, they are imprints, traces of energy left behind by presence, thought, and frequency. Once you become sensitive to energy, you begin to sense these currents. And more importantly, you realize you can shift them. Try this. Before entering a room, pause. Close your eyes for just a moment. Breathe once, slowly. Now, set an intention, not a wish, an energetic stance. Peace, clarity, stillness. Feel it in your body. Let it settle in your breath. Now walk in. You may notice the space responds differently. People may speak softer. You may find clarity where there was confusion, because your field is no longer passive. It is communicating. This is not magic. This is resonance. And it begins the moment you realize you are not just in your environment. You are shaping it. People don't just hear your words. They feel your field. Before you speak, your energy already enters the room. Before you respond, your vibration already speaks. Most conflicts are not caused by what is said, but by what is felt. So what happens when you begin to take responsibility, not just for your actions, but for the frequency you bring into every moment? You begin to shift your relationships. Start noticing. How do people feel when they're around you? Do you ground them, agitate them, energize them? This is not about being liked. It's about becoming aligned. Here's a practice. Before speaking in an intense conversation, breathe once. Feel your feet. Anchor your awareness in your core. Now speak. You'll notice your words carry more weight, less noise, more presence. Because presence is power, and the most powerful people in any room are rarely the loudest. They are the ones who command the field, silently, steadily, through frequency alone. True energy control isn't about always being calm. It's about returning to calm, quickly, deliberately, when everything around you tries to pull you out of it. Your nervous system has memory. It remembers every panic, every spiral, every rush. So when chaos strikes, it wants to repeat what it knows. But energy control rewires that memory. Here's the key. Interrupt the pattern. When you feel yourself spinning, anger, fear, anxiety, pause. Physically, stop moving. Close your eyes. Place one hand on your chest, one on your lower belly. Breathe in slowly, not to escape, but to anchor. Now say out loud or silently, I am here. I choose to hold my field. It sounds simple, almost too simple, but you're doing more than calming yourself. You're interrupting old energetic loops. You're showing your system a new rhythm. You're becoming the signal, not the static. And when you do this enough times, the chaos loses its grip. Not because the world changed, but because you became unshakable. You don't need more power. You need more presence. Energy control isn't about becoming someone else. It's about remembering who you were before the noise, before the fear, before the world taught you to shrink. You've always been connected to the field. You've always been transmitting, receiving, and shaping reality, whether you knew it or not. But now, you're not just reacting. You're choosing. Every breath you take with awareness becomes a declaration. I am the center of my field. And from that center, you speak, you feel, you move. You stop chasing balance and start radiating it. This is the foundation, the first steps in energy control. But what comes next is mastery. And mastery doesn't begin with knowing more. It begins with living what you already know. So if this path speaks to something ancient inside you, don't just watch. Practice, explore, go deeper. And if something shifted in you during this video, even slightly, like, subscribe, and share your experience in the comments. Because when you speak your shift aloud, it becomes real. And someone else, maybe someone you'll never meet, might read your words and remember their own power.